Communication is the most important thing to find peace in Kashmir, or in find peace in any conflict zone in the world. You have to speak to people. If you don't speak, you are going to keep away. You are going to create schisms between you, and obviously there's no chance of peace coming about. We have not been very communicative. I would say we have not been very communicative. We are not comfortable with communication in Kashmir. As an army man, I always believed that in today's world, one of the very important aspects is to talk through history, talk through culture. If you do not understand the culture of a zone, of an area, you really do not know how to get into conversation with people. This is a very unfortunate thing that has happened there. And the problem in finding peace in Kashmir and creating that stable environment by which we can hope to bring the Kashmiri Pandits back with no threats to them, the whole intent should be how to ensure that everyone who is there in Kashmir, who is a stakeholder for peace, actually contributes to it. The unfortunate thing is that in the last 30 years, we have left it to the armed forces, or rather to the army, to make that communication. We have done it. I can assure you I've communicated a hell of a lot with students, exactly the way you have, with 400 students in the Chinar auditorium of Badami Bagh. But at the end of it, somehow it doesn't gel somehow. There is always an element of a better communication coming across from the line of control, across the line of control. That aspect of jihadism, that aspect of Islamic unity and things like that. And this creates huge confusion in the minds of young people there. You'll be happy to know that today things are changing, rapidly changing, and I'm very certain, I'm very confident that this process will continue. Today, after a long time, you're finding symbols, Indian symbols in acceptable form. You find the Indian flag at Hari Parbat. You find the Tiranga at Gulmarg in the highest, flagpole which you can find anywhere in India, perhaps. You are finding the Indian Army band playing at Lal Chowk. This is the kind of environment which is taking place there today. But when you speak to Kashmiris, you have to speak with, there has to be a methodology of speaking. I have learned this over a period of time. I realized that you have to, first of all, put the Kashmiri on the pedestal. You got to be a better listener first than a speaker, right? I was always a listener. I said, you speak for 3 hours, but give me 15 minutes thereafter. And you'll be surprised. I actually told Kashmiri students, abuse India, abuse me, abuse the army. If it helps you to take out the venom from you inside you, do it, right? I will thereafter speak to you and I will place the bomb. You'll be surprised, many of them, when they came out to have a cup of tea with me, would ask me for a selfie, would take my autograph, and lastly, they would even whisper in my ear to ask, how can we join the Indian Army? And I would say, you have just abused the Indian Army. Why do you want to join it? And that is the time when the real revelation is to come out. They said, well, that is for public, consumption. Actually, in heart of hearts, we love Indian Army. We love the India. Now, you see, the Kashmiri lives in two worlds, right? There's a world, two worlds apart. It's very difficult to try and bring them to these worlds together and make them understand. That is happening in a way today because there are more people joining the conversation. It was left far too much to the army to join the conversation in the beginning. Today, academics who make the difference. Professor Bakaran, you make the difference. People like you make the difference. You are the people who need to go and speak to them. People who have a cultural understanding, an understanding of history, who can answer and respond correctly. Otherwise, people who have no knowledge of history and culture will give all the wrong responses. And you'll find all kinds of awkward kind of situations emerging out of it. So I go by your this thing, man, Professor Lakshmi, that it's conversations is the most important aspect. But it has to be informed conversation and understanding based upon what the sentiments of the people there are. If that is correct, there is no end to the conversation we can have and achieve so much out of it.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.